Welcome to the Tokenized Economy. For today's explainer, we're going to tackle a really practical question. Where is all this tokenization stuff actually happening today? All right, so just as a quick refresher, in our last explainer, we talked all about the big idea of tokenizing real-world assets. Remember that? It's how you can take traditional stuff, things you already get, and represent them as digital tokens on a blockchain. Okay, so that's the theory, right? But it begs the big question. Where is this happening in the real world? Like right now? Is this just a cool idea people are talking about? Or is it actually making a difference somewhere?
Well, the short answer is yeah, it's absolutely happening. Tokenization isn't just a white paper concept anymore. It's being actively explored all over the financial markets. So let's kind of paint a picture of what that landscape looks like. And look, the scope here is, well, it's huge. We're not just talking about one or two little niche markets. We're seeing this pop up everywhere, from equities and government bonds, all the way to more complex stuff like repo markets, which are super important for short-term lending, and private credit. Heck, even physical things like real estate and commodities are getting in on the action. The one thing that ties all of this together, it's the chance to get rid of all those expensive middlemen and crazy long settlement times by using this shared blockchain tech.
But that brings up a really good point. Just because you can tokenize something, does that mean you should? Turns out, not all assets are created equal here. Some are way better candidates for this than others. So let's figure out what makes an asset a prime candidate. And really, this is the key takeaway. Tokenization isn't some magic wand you can just wave at any old asset. It's real power, it's superpower, really, gets unlocked when you apply it to markets that are stuck in the mud, markets that are bogged down by certain problems. It's more like a scalpel than a sledgehammer. So, this is where we find the sweet spot. We're looking for assets that are struggling with three main headaches. First, really complex ownership structures. Think about a big office building with tons of different investors. Second, a whole line of middlemen. You've got banks, brokers, custodians, and they're all taking a piece of the pie. And third, painfully slow settlement. Days or weeks. These are the exact pain points where a transparent, programmable token can be a total game changer. Okay, so with those criteria in mind, where's the real action at? Where are we seeing the most momentum today? Which areas are actually moving past the let's just explore this phase and into real-world use? All right, here we go. This is where things are heating up. We're seeing some serious momentum in four key spots. First up, fixed income markets. Then, you've got the rise of tokenized funds, a totally new way to put investments together. Third, and this one's a biggie, stablecoins. They're basically the cash on the blockchain that you need to make the whole thing work. And last but not least, equity markets. For sure, these are the areas that are really leading the charge right now. So we've talked about the what and the where. That leaves us with a big one, right? The how. How does this all actually work under the hood? So we've seen where this is all taking shape. The next logical step for us is to figure out how. How does tokenization actually work? Like, what are the steps involved in taking a real-world asset and putting it onto a blockchain? That's exactly what we're going to break down in our very next explainer. And that's a wrap for this one. We are absolutely going to tackle how this all works in our next explainer, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And hey, if you've got questions or ideas for things you want us to cover, drop them down in the comments. We'll see you next time.